get started. Preparation is everything, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what do I mean by preparation is everything?
Don't take things for chance. Get prepared for whatever you're about to do.
Okay.
Being prepared when the opportunity comes.
Where's the first place we need to be prepared?
Mind.
Where's that? In our mind. All right. So like this morning, my pug. You know, I have a little pug, and I've had him for 16 years. Right? So in the morning, he likes to get up early in the morning, and then sometimes he'll find a way outside, you know, because he wants to use the bathroom and stuff, right? So I was sleeping this morning. Something told me, go swimming extra early this morning, right? So I get up. It's like 4:15, and then I get downstairs and I jump in the pool, and then I hear him. I said, Dollar, is that you? Because he does that. Some of you met him, right? He does that, and I'm swimming, and I pop my head up, and there's a coyote, like sizing him up, like literally sizing him up, right? And then I clapped my hands, and the coyote ran, right? And then I had him go inside the house, right? He could have been a nice meal. I mean, that coyote would have ate for a long time, right? And I thought about that, and I thought about you're either being hunted or you're doing the hunting in life, right? So there's a lot of things that we run away from that's hunting us, or we could be the aggressor where we're doing the hunting. Which position do you want to be in every single day?
The hunter.
You want to be the hunter. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm assuming a couple of things. One, you want to build a business. How many of us want to have a distribution business, right? Where, can you imagine at some point in your life, last month as a team, we did 582 recruits. We did 582 recruits as a team. We did 1.4 million in premium. And then WFG paid our team 1.4 million last month. Right? So you ask yourself, from those numbers, with your team, how many people did your team recruit? How many families did your team help? How much money did your team make? And how much money did you make yourself? Right? So if those numbers, if your personal numbers are 0, 0, 0, or they're not in accordance to what your goals are, right? Just know the entire team has a tremendous amount of momentum. The entire company has a tremendous amount of momentum, right? Just because you don't have momentum doesn't mean the entire team has momentum. Does that make sense? So there's 4 skill sets that I want you to really work hard at mastering. Okay? So the first skill set is this. The first skill set is your ability to get on the phone, right? Make a call and set up an appointment. Which most of you, I take it, are really good at, right? So you're able to pick up the phone, call someone, within 2 minutes, you're able to set up an appointment, right? The second skill set is the kitchen table presentation, right? So you go out with a field trainer, you go across the kitchen table. We have what we call these flip chart presentations, right? You're able to take a family through the flip chart presentation, right? And you're able to get a result. Now, can you do the presentation without the flip chart? Of course you can, all right? But then when you do it without a flip chart, it's not duplicatable, right? So you want a duplicatable presentation where an average person can go across the kitchen table and get a result, right? The third is what we're going to go over today is the one-on-one presentation, right? So now can you imagine having a team of 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 licensed agents that can sit down with someone, right, at a Starbucks, have a 10, 15-minute conversation with them go over who we are, what we do, the opportunity available, and recruit. So this is a one-on-one business supported by the business presentation meeting. Does that make sense? So I got recruited. I didn't get recruited at a BPM. I came to the BPM. I thought it was weird. I thought it was like this multi-level thing. But when Ed sat down with me and he did a one-on-one, he recruited me on a one-on-one. Then he introduced me to the BPM. Does that make sense? Yes. And the last one is the system, right? Taking everyone through the 6 steps and the 8 speed filters, right? So today we're going to focus on the one-on-one presentation. So what I wanted to do on a one-on-one presentation, I didn't want it to be, one of the things about training, it's always concept and theory, right? So I wanted it to be kind of live, so I asked one of the guests, I pulled one of the guests out of the, come on over. What's your name, Malik? Okay. So Malik is a guest, we grab a seat, Malik. Malik is a guest of who? Linda. Okay, so I talked to Malik. I told him a little bit about what we're going to do, so he's not really nervous. And actually, I meditated this morning, and I sent him a meditation. I told him what to wear. So he's wearing a pink shirt, gray suit, just like I am. Just so you guys know. So when I say preparation, those of you that are involved, you already know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. So Malik is, how old are you, Malik?
23.
23 years old. Jeez Louise. That's awesome. And so how do you know, what's your first name?
Linda.
Ginger's mom is what
Linda.
I know. How do you know Linda, Malik?
She was actually my Uber driver.
She was your Uber driver?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you guys get that message? I got someone sent me a message on Instagram where they got into an Uber, right? And this is someone on the team. So they called Uber. They got in the Uber. The Uber driver was listening to one of my trainings. Can you imagine that?
Oh, wow.
That's interesting, huh?
I think it was Ashley.
What's
I
that?
think it was Ashley. Ashley Corona, I think.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. So she was your Uber driver.
Yeah.
So what did she tell you to get you here? Or what did she ask you?
Just opportunity to make money.
Opportunity to make money. So you're always open for opportunity.
Yeah.
And what you currently doing now?
Security.
Security?
Yeah.
Really? With who?
With Allied Universal.
Allied University. Oh, yeah, I've seen that. Where at?
They have me in Culver City.
Oh, you're in Culver City?
Yeah.
Okay, you kind of laid back, huh?
Yeah.
I actually used to do security back in, did you guys know that? I worked for Burns Security. This was in 87 in Spotsylvania Mall, Fredericksburg, Virginia. I had my little security outfit. I did it part-time. And all that stuff. You were you like the fancy security, huh? Yeah, but we actually had the uniforms back then and all that stuff. So what have you heard about our company? Have you heard anything about our company?
Just a little brief insight. You guys basically help people, and I think it's about life insurance.
Okay.
Like it was just brief.
It was just brief?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you heard of World Financial Group?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to go over a little bit about who we are and what we do, and then at the end I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Is that cool?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so this right here, this is World Financial Group. Okay, so this is our company, and Synergy Financial is my brand within the World Financial Group umbrella. Okay, so this is our business platform. So if you take a look at here, there's several things. So an excellent business platform. We have an overwhelming need for our products and services. It's an effective business platform, powerful compensation, great time, and strong core values. So here, when we say our 4 platforms, there's 4 specific platforms. So the first platform is our marketing platform, right? Where we have a system that brings the community to us. Right? So we don't knock on doors, we don't do cold calls, we don't send out flyers, we don't buy leads, all right? The second platform is our insurance agency, where we have licensing agreements with hundreds of different companies. So we have companies like Crump, which you name the insurance carriers, we have access to them. The third platform is our broker-dealer. Our broker-dealer is Transamerica Financial Advisors. Have you heard of Transamerica?
I've seen it.
Yeah, you've seen it. You remember if you ever look at, for example, in San Francisco. There's a Transamerica Tower there, right? Our parent company, Aegon, is a $543 billion company. Aegon's actually the company that bought Transamerica in 2001. They wrote a check for $9 billion and $2 billion in cash. So that's pretty powerful. That just lets you know how big our company is. And then we also have a wealth management platform. So let me ask you a question. Would you have any challenges doing business with a company of this magnitude of WFG and Transamerica?
I'm not pretty sure. I don't think I'll be too interested
Interested in what?
in joining
Joining what?
the company.
Joining the company? Oh, I didn't ask you to join the company. I asked you, would you have any challenges doing business with a company of this magnitude?
It's a little overwhelming.
It's a little overwhelming?
Yeah.
I know how you feel. I felt the same way. When I first got started, I was actually in the Marine Corps, so I knew nothing about financial services, insurance, and investments. But I was at a point, I was a little bit older than you. I was actually 32 years old at the time, and I was working about 60 to 70 hours a week. And I was making about $2,800 a month. You probably make more money than me at that point. So I was married, I had kids, and I found myself in a position where every month I was broke, I was living payday to payday. And I got to a point where I was just tired of being tired. And I was having this conversation at 33 years old. And the person I was having this conversation, although I didn't understand anything he was saying, because it was like a whole different language, I was so disturbed because this guy was 29 years old, I was 33, I was making a year, he was making a month. Follow me?
Yeah.
So although I didn't understand what he was saying, what I wanted the association. So let me ask you a question again. Would you have any challenges doing business with a company of this magnitude?
I think I'll be open-minded too.
Okay. Well, you know, what's great about being open-minded, if you take a look at a parachute, what happens if the parachute stays closed and you jump out? What's that?
It's over.
It's over, right? And what happens if the parachute opens?
You get another chance.
There you go. So you always want to stay open-minded. That's cool. So share with you some concepts here, all right? Have you ever thought about being wealthy?
Yeah.
Every day? That's awesome. You know that there's actual formula of being wealthy, right? So it's money, right? So sometimes we're not making enough money and we need to make more money, right? So it's money plus time minus a rate of return minus inflation minus taxes equals wealth. So one of the things that we do is we educate families on how to become financially independent and debt-free. Does that make sense? Would you like to be in a position one day where you're financially independent and debt-free?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, there you go. All right. So there is something called the X curve, right? So concept of wealth and responsibility. Generally less secure. When you're younger, you're taking care of your family, right? Do you have a family yet? No. Not yet. You're not married yet? No. Okay. Are you planning to be married? You're saying it like, no.
Like 28.
28?
30.
Okay, all right. I see a lot of girls in here sizing you up. I'm kidding, right? So you have the law of decreasing responsibility, right? And the law of building wealth. So when you get older, generally more secure, you're older and you're taking care of your family, right? So there's 4 areas right here where we show people with their money. You want to obviously grow your money. You want to have safety, tax advantage, protection. And majority of this, the first time you see it doesn't make sense, but we have a training program here where over a period of time you'll understand a lot of it, right? So you must take care of your responsibility while building your wealth. Now let me ask you this. How would you feel if all your financial responsibilities were in place and you can actually help other people achieve the same thing?
Great.
Okay, that's pretty cool. See how easy this is? So this is our actual financial needs analysis. This is what we do for families across the kitchen table, and we do it complimentary for free. Right? So it covers 6 areas. The first area is cash flow, where we show you how to earn additional income and manage your expenses. Let me ask you a question. What if, right, we could show you how to turn your annual income and turn it into a monthly one and work a 4-hour work week? What would that?
Show me right now.
Show you right now? Okay. All right, I'm going to show you. We also show them how to get out of debt. Right? We teach families how to get out of debt. Then we have insurance protection. You have all different types of life insurance. Term, universal, whole, variable, equity. And we have access to all of those. Then you have asset accumulation, where we show you how to outpace inflation, professional money management, emergency fund, estate preservation. So we teach families how to do this. And we do it complimentary for free. And every time we sit down with a family, they introduce us to 5 to 10 people that we can help the same way that we help them. Right? So how would it make you feel if you were able to make a difference across the kitchen table with families?
I like helping people.
You like helping people? All right, that's awesome, man. So tell you a little bit about our industry. Okay, so the fact that you don't have a background in the industry, that's actually great news. The fact that if you only understand like 2% of what I just talked about, that's actually great news, because you get the chance to learn everything from scratch. Right? So the old industry believes in employee and agent, right? Which means that you're working for someone, you have a job, you're W-2. You have career glass ceiling, which means no matter how hard you work, you can only make a certain amount of money, right? Limited territory and income. So for me, while I was in Marine Corps, no matter how hard I worked, I could only make but so much money, right? They usually have quotas, which means that you have to do a certain amount of production every single month, or you can lose your job, right? They focus on sales, so you have to learn all the sales techniques, right? Because it's a sale. And they have a closed system, so no matter how hard you work, you could only climb up to a certain amount. So you can't walk up to your boss and say, hey, what do I need to do in order to be in your shoes? It doesn't exist there. We have a new industry, right, which is us. We believe in entrepreneurship. Have you ever thought about being in business for yourself?
Yeah.
You thought about it. Okay. And that's what we do. You can be as big as you want. What does that mean? You can do, remember I just asked you, what would it feel like if you were able to take your annual income and turn it into a monthly one? You can do that as an entrepreneur, right? Unlimited territory and income. So can you imagine what would it feel like if you were able to make $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year, $300,000 a year, $50,000 a year? That'd be pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Today's your shot at the big time. All right. So there's no quotas. So we don't work on quotas here. So you don't have to do a specific amount of production and recruiting every single month here. And we focus on building people. Right? So when I was 33 years old and I was sitting in that chair and my mentor was sitting here, right? He was helping me get out of my own way. Does that make sense? Because I thought that I could only do a certain amount, like, because I was thinking as a Marine, I never made more than $2,800 a month, and part-time I was making $10 an hour. So he invited me once I got started with the business and I became part of a team, right? And I started to learn all the things that these guys are learning now. And I did it part-time for like 10 months. And after 10 months, I left the military, came full-time, never looked back. Okay, that was back in 1998. And we have an open system here. Open system meaning that our goal is to identify what is it that you're trying to achieve and help you achieve what it is that you want to achieve, which is pretty cool. So it's a $63 trillion industry. It's the number one industry for you to be in, financial services. So we brought a new idea to an old industry, and we transformed the way we do business. So there's three demands in our industry right now. So you have the baby boomers. We've got a couple of baby boomers in here. These are the people that were born between 1946 and 1964. Like my mom, the baby boomers, their stories was, go to school, get a good job, right? Work that job for 25 to 30 years, and someday you'll be able to retire in your golden years, right? And the reality of that is that the baby boomers have hit retirement 10 years ago. They're retiring at a pace of 10,000 baby boomers a day, right? The Census Bureau did a report. They said 3 out of 4 people that retire in poverty with less than $10,000 a year to live on, less than $833 a month. So the baby boomers, right? So my reality with that, my mom, I grew up with a single mom in New York. My mom worked for a bank called Manufacturers Hanover Trust. That bank went bankrupt in the 90s. She never recovered from that. So my mom is 75 now. Her Social Security is $700 a month, right? And she lives in New York. So at 33 years old, I wanted one of the things that moved me is I wanted to put myself in a position that when it came time for her that she didn't want to work anymore, I wanted to be in a position financially where she didn't have to work anymore. And I did that back in 1999, right? So the baby boomers are dissatisfied, right? Generation X, which is my generation, I was born between 1965 and 1976. We listened to our parents because our parents says go to school. We went to school. They said go to college. Some of us went to college, like I dropped out, but I went in the military, right? And our parents says land a good job because there's job security, right? So we landed that good job, and over the last 10 years, we faced economic, challenges. Unemployment's at its highest. Real estate has no momentum. The mortgage industry has no momentum. The debt industry has no momentum. The health insurance industry has no momentum. So the Generation X, what they realized that the story that they were told is actually not a true story, right? So like for me, at 33 years old, I started to question that story, right? And I chose a different path, right? But if I would have kept that story, this year would have been my 30th year in the Marine Corps, and I love being a Marine. My highest pay in the Marine Corps would have been $7,500 a month, right? And I would have retired after 30 years with 40% of that $7,500, which after taxes would have paid me $2,800 a month. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought back in 33, right? Because if you look at the people that's been doing what you're doing for 10, 15, 20 years and ask yourself, is that where you want to be? If the answer is no, you're looking at your future. I learned that at 33. So can you imagine if you could learn that at 22? If you learn that at 22, that means by 28, you're financially independent and debt-free. And you live the rest of your life being financially independent and debt-free, if you get it.
Mm-hmm.
Then your generation, which I think your generation is the brightest. Generation X and baby boomers, they label the millennials as lazy. And I don't think that's true at all. I actually believe the millennials are the brightest because the millennials, they're 75 million strong, right? The millennials go, I love my mom and dad. I love my grandparents, but I don't want to do what they've done. Because really what they've seen is they've seen their mom and dad, like I love my mom, right? But I don't want to take financial advice from my mom. I don't want to take business advice from my mom. Why? Because it's an old way of thinking, right? So what's happened during these years, you went from the information age, right? The information age changed everything. So my kids now have a 4, 7, 9, and I have 2 older kids, 26 and 23. My 4, 7, and 9, they have access to information, right? So you can go on Google almost anything you want to know. You can Google it. There's YouTube. There's all kind of information. That's changed the game in so many ways. There's also the idea age. So one of the things that Albert Einstein says was that imagination is actually more powerful than knowledge. So idea age, it's about ideas that solve the challenges of the masses. So the millennials, they think, if I want to have $1 million, I just have to figure out how do I get 1 million people to give me $1. You follow me? If I get 1 million people to give me $1, that can happen in an hour, that can happen in a day, that can happen in 30 days, that can happen in a year, that can happen in 5 years. Follow me? So they have a different approach upon business. But one of the things that's happening now, all 3 generations are dissatisfied. Because even the millennials, they have ideas, but they have no money to fund those ideas. Does that make sense? So what exists when all 3 generations are dissatisfied, right? People become open for an opportunity. So they're looking for an opportunity. So 9 out of 10 people like yourself, if I ask them, if I was to talk to you about a serious opportunity, would you listen? The answer is yes. Make sense?
Yeah.
Now let's talk about making money. I think this is where you come alive right here, right?
Been
You're waiting for this, right? But let me ask you a question before we get into this. If I can show you, like me personally, if I can show you how to make an extra $2,000 to $3,000 a month, part-time, and you keep your full-time job, is there any logical reason why you would not get started with me today?
Part of the timing.
What's that?
It's part of the timing.
What do you mean?
Probably won't have enough free time.
You probably won't have enough free time. What about if I could show you how to have free time? Okay, so let's talk about why you don't have free time. Okay? So do you have a phone?
Yeah.
Do you have a calculator on your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, pull it up. Let's talk about your time real quick. So do you have you know how to use your calculator?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta ask, because a lot of people don't, right? So how many hours a week are you working right now? 50 hours? Okay, no more, no less. Wow, that's a lot of hours. Wow. Okay, so 50 hours a week, and is that every week?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 200 hours a month, correct? Okay, and what are you making hourly, do you know? 16? Okay, so what's your check at the end of the month?
Well, it's bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly. Oh, bi-weekly. You get paid twice
Yeah.
a month?
Yeah.
Wow. You get paid twice a week here, but that's a different conversation. So 50, so what are you netting on a monthly basis at the end of the day? What's your check?
I'm lucky, like
400?
4,000.
4,000 on a monthly basis after taxes?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want you to do is say 200 divided by 4,000. Tell me what that number is. 16 bucks an hour for security. That's not bad. This is way more than I made.
Say about 400.
So if you're working 200 divided by 4,000, what is that number? So that's about $20 an hour. It's about $20 an hour. So right now, what you're doing, you're exchanging 200 hours a month, right, for $20 an hour. Follow me?
Yeah.
What about if I could show you how to make $500 an hour? All right? I give you more time, right? So when you're inspired, so like for me, I had my full-time job, then I had my part-time job, but I was making so less money with those two jobs that was acquiring a lot of my time, right? So the goal is for us to bring your income power up, your earning power up. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so for example here, right? So before I do that, so if I can show you how to do that, right? I want you to really think about that, right? So if I can show you how to take your income from $20 an hour to $500 an hour, is there any logical reason why you wouldn't get started with me today? Okay, cool. All right. So you do your part, I do my part. Make sense? Okay. Now, so this is an example of a family, right? This is a male. We have a product called the Index Universal Life, which you'll go through training, you'll learn all about it. It's not rocket science. It's a 40-year-old male that's saving $185 a month towards their financial future. Okay? So let's say you're an associate here. Like most of the teammates here are associates from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, right? You're an associate here, you're gonna go through a training, right? What's great about our training is that you'll learn more 1 hour in the field than 10 hours in the classroom, which means that you're not gonna be left to do this alone. Does that make sense? So like, for example, if your company hired me for security, right? And you've been doing security for how long now? You've been doing it for 2 years, and I just got started, right? So I know nothing about security. But if I'm smart, and I say, Malik, right? And I say, Malik, you've been doing this for 2 years. Can you coach me? You follow me? So you already know everything that's going on. So you're able to tell me, D, hey, watch out this, watch out that. Here's how you do this. Here's how. We have the same program here, right? So you're in business for yourself, but you won't be by yourself. So you don't have to be intimidated that you don't know anything, right? We work in a team environment. Have you ever worked in a team environment before?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a team environment here. All right, so you're an associate. You put yourself in a position where you're helping 4 families a month, right? You help 4 families a month, meaning that we did a financial strategy and we move a product for that family, and that product was the Index Universal Life, and it's based on a 40-year-old male that's saving $185 a month, right? We'll pay you $4,000 a month, $48,000 a year of 1099 income. Now, I want you to pull your calculator out again, right? So now you're helping 4 families a month. Each family that we sit down with, we spend 2 hours with each family, right? So 4 times 2 is 8 hours, right? 8 hours divided into 4,000 gives you what? Wow. See that? Now imagine what would you feel like if you were working full time, right, as a security, and then part time here, right, and then you started making $500 an hour part time. What would you think you start thinking about your full time job? I gotta go. There you go. There you go. Like I have a guy here, Brian. I don't know if Brian's in here, but Brian used to work at LA Unified School District. I think he's a little bit older than you, might be 26, 27. This was maybe about 5 years ago. He was 23, 24. He was working a little bit more than you. He was working 60 to 70 hours a week as a school teacher. He was a 4th grade school teacher. He was making about $2,600 a month as a school teacher. He got started with us part-time, all right? And he became an associate. And then he became a broker, and he was making more money working part-time here, and he could only work 10 hours part-time here a week, right? So he started making more money here part-time than he was making his full-time job, and he left his full-time job and became full-time here as one of our brokers here. So we have a lot of local people here that is done it. Then if you have some leadership skills, you're good with people, you become a broker, a senior market director, right? We have a program that shows you how to do that. And you help 4 families a month, you'll make $7,000 a month, $86,000 a year of 1099 income. That's 4. So it's just, you can do more than 4. We have people that help 4 families a day, 5 families, 6 families, all of them talk to you. If you decide to build a team. Now, you ever drove up the hill or looked up the hill and you saw that house up there, or you saw someone come out in the middle of the day, and you thought to yourself, I wonder what that person does. Have you ever done that? Yeah. Okay, because I was a dreamer. I used to do that all the time.
I'll ask him.
What's that?
I'll ask him, like, what do you do?
There you go. Well, you're sitting down with him right now. So I'm getting ready to tell you what we do. Make sense? So this person owns a business. You follow me on that? So my goal, right, is to help you achieve what's important to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're making $4,000 a month right now. What would life be to make an extra $2,000 a month or extra $3,000 a month? So here's the exchange. If I can help you achieve your goal, the more money you make, the more money I make. So it's a win-win situation. So what that means is I actually have a financial incentive to help you. You follow me on that?
Yeah.
So if I have a financial incentive to help you, right, it's your job to take advantage of that. So when I was 33 and I met this guy that's 29, he's making $50,000 a month. I'm making $35,000 a year, and he has a financial incentive to help me. Guess what I had to do? I had to get out my own way. You follow me on that?
Yeah.
Now, that sounds very simple, right? But one of the things that I learned is common sense is not so common. Does that make sense? So if you get that, you're ahead of 98% of people, right? So what about if you're a broker, now you have 5 people on your team, right, that are helping 4 families a month, and you did nothing. Let's say you and I were in Hawaii somewhere, and you got a team of 4 licensed agents that helped out 5 families that month, right? You'll get an override of $15,000 a month, $188,000 a year. It's pretty cool, huh? You come back from Hawaii, right, and you're leading your team by example. You and your team, you help 4 families a month. Your team helps 4 families a month. Take your income to $22,000 a month, $274,000 a year. It's pretty cool, isn't it? So, show you in a different context, right? I was having a cigar with a friend of mine. At the age of 35 years old, his family owns a family business, right? That family business is real estate. So they own 300 units in Koreatown, right? The family bought the units for like $20 million. The units valued now at $50 million. He manages the entire property, so 300 units. He manages everything, right? And that real estate provides a cash flow for the family, for family's trust, after expenses of $1 million a year, right? So it's a passive cash flow of $1 million a year, right? And we were talking the other day, and I said to him, you know what's interesting? Our business here does the exact same thing, but without having to come up with $20, $50 million to buy those real estate holdings. You follow me on that?
Yeah.
So over the last 17 years, I built an organization, right? Tons of guys like yourself got started with me just like this. They became licensed, right? They're out helping families across the kitchen table. Some of them have become brokers and they've opened up their own offices, right? And then for the rest of their career, right, I override them. So my investment is in people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I invest in, so I've had tons of these conversations. Now, does everyone make it here? No. Does everyone that go to the gym get in shape? No. Right? So you have to understand human nature. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're almost done, and then we have a lot of fun. Hope you like having fun.
I was told to.
Is that right? Okay. Aegon's motto is respect people, make money, and have fun. Right? So we travel all around the world. My wife and I, we do about 6 or 7 trips a year. 2 of them we do WFG every year. It takes about 600 or 700 couples to Hawaii every year. Like your entire family goes. Pretty cool. We just came back with WFG. We took 100 couples to Fiji and to Sydney, Australia, right? Which is pretty cool, right? And we have big conventions. Like we just had our annual convention. I don't know if you've heard of Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone. They both are doing things with WFG. You'll learn a lot about it. And we're big on recognition. Once you make over $50,000 a year with us, hopefully it doesn't take you a whole year to make 50 grand, but if it does, right, you get your company watch, right, which means that you make over 50,000 a year. Once you go over $100,000 a year, then you're part of the Champions Club, which means that you make 100,000, and this from $100,000 a year all the way up to millions. Make sense? Okay, so there's 3 different options here. Option 1 is you took a look at everything that you saw and you said, you know what, I want to sit down with an agent and I want to do a personal financial strategy. And we could sit down with you and we do a personal financial strategy for you, implement a plan, you're excited, you introduce this to people, right? Option 2 is what originally when I first saw this is what attracted me. I was able to keep my job in the military, right? I was able to start on a part-time basis here, right? And I did the business part-time while I was full-time in the military. Option 3, a lot of times we sit down with people that are already business owners, right? So they might have bought a McDonald's, they might have bought a Subway, they might have, took $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 and started a business. So they already have a business owner's mindset. Business owners think differently. So when I first saw this, I looked at it from an employee mindset because I've always been an employee. I wasn't a business owner. So the business owner, what attracts them about our business, they say, well, wait a minute. You mean to tell me I don't have to write a check right now for $1 million, for $2 million, for $3 million to buy this business? You already have a $543 billion company that did everything, and all I have to do is do my membership agreement. I do $100 with my membership agreement, and I get my code number within my firm, and I'm able to get my license with the state of California, which costs me, I think, like $130, and I can go make millions. We go, yeah, and they go, where do I sign? Because they already understand they're business owners, right? So from these three options, what intrigues you the most and why?
Business owner.
Business owner.
Yeah.
Really? Wow. Very few, very, so business owner means that you would have to quit your job and come full time right now. Part time. Yeah, there you go. Okay, cool. All right.
I'll work my way.
You'll work your way there. Yeah, actually people do it pretty fast. It took me about 10 months, but I've had people do it a lot faster. It took me about 10 months to go from part-time to full-time business owner. Okay? So outside of training and licensing, and those are things that you'll learn in a classroom format, do you have any specific questions for me?
For the team. So, can you have a team of, called senior marketing director?
Oh yeah, I have 200 of them. Cool.
Yeah.
You ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Give them a round of applause. So let's talk that through real quick. You can go back. Thank you. Appreciate it. So let's talk that through real quick. First of all, how long did it take me?
41 minutes.
41 minutes? Okay, so questions. I want to get some questions from you guys.
Did you purposely match his energy?
What do you think?
Yes.
Of course. Common sense. Of course.
Because I was waiting for you to like.
Listen, you guys. You must mirror energy. So when I'm sitting across the kitchen table, if I'm like, oh my God, it's too much. You're overpowering people. You mirror their energy. If they're soft-spoken, I'm soft-spoken.
Mm-hmm.
If they're laid back, I'm laid back. Does that make sense? If they're intense, I'm intense. Right? So you have to be flexible when you're meeting with people. Does that make sense? And don't talk over people. Right? So he's making $16 an hour. I meet him with where he's at. I don't start going, oh my God, you could make millions. It's over the top. I got to meet him with where he's at, right? And what is the outcome of the presentation? To recruit him. Does that make sense? So he's 22 years old, right? Give you an example. Jay Jr., when he got recruited, was him. Jay Jr. tatted up, right? Earrings all over his ear, pierced earring, pierced tongue, right? Single, like crazy. His dad was like a pastor, but he was just like crazy, right? He got started with us. Right? Someone believed in him. Someone encouraged him. He's now 28 years old, right? He's making over $55,000 a month. Married, runs his own office. He's got a great team, extremely competitive. 10 years from now, when he's 38, he's making a couple of million, I override him. You follow me on that? So you think about, what if you had someone that was 22 years old, 23, that was hungry, right, that you can mentor, that you have a platform to give, right? And then now they start teeing it up. They start making $100, $200, $300, $400,000 a year. What kind of passive income is that for you? Are you thinking that way? You follow me on that? That's what I'm thinking about in recruiting. Now, will he make it? I don't know. But I'm going to give him a shot. I'm going to give him a jersey. I'm going to play him on the field. And I want him to get hit as fast as possible because I want to see what he's made out of. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the recruiter's mindset, right? Because the outcome of the business format system is what? One, you want to have an outlet. What is an outlet? An outlet is a licensed agent, right, that can sit across the kitchen table with a family, have a conversation, and move a financial instrument. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So right now in my base shop, right, I have 100 licensed agents, 100 outlets, right? An outlet opener, what is an outlet opener? An outlet opener is someone like a Jay Jr. that could start out as an outlet, that eventually he opened up his own office, he became a broker, he's self-motivated, self-financing, self-replicating, self-duplicating leader, right? It's equivalent to me owning a McDonald's and San Dimas, right? So he's doing his BPM this morning over there, right? He's on the lease. He does his own full-timers meeting. He runs his own BPMs. He's totally independent of me, right? And I override that office 17.5. So how many outlet openers do you want to have, and how many outlets do you want to have, right? Because the reality is, no matter how hard you work at your craft right now, you only have 24 hours in a day. You follow me? But if I have 10 licensed agents, 10 outlets, now I have 240 hours. I got 100 outlets, I have 2,400 hours. You follow me? And it continues to grow and grow and grow. What other questions?
Would you have AMA'd him right down?
Yeah, right then and there.
Okay.
That's another thing. Yeah, get it done. You already got the yes. Boom. Break out your iPad. Go straight to the membership agreement. Boom, and then get them off to a fast start. What else? What other questions? Come on, you guys. Don't
What's
get-
the next thing you'd have him do? You've done his AMA, what would you do next?
Where's the business format system?
Just take
Who's got the
that.
business format system? There's 8 speed filters. 8 speed filters, right there. Boom. Right. So I get his membership agreement. Done. Go through the references, the top 10 references. Go through that process and take him through the 8 speed filters. There's never any rocket science about what the next step is. It's right there in the 8 speed filters. Make sense? What else?
You mentioned about bringing like 3 guests to the next meeting.
I would definitely do that. Yeah, I would do that, definitely. What else? What else about the one-on-one presentation?
I have a question, but not about one-on-one.
Okay.
After you sign them up, there is always the confusion. What do I do next? They don't understand what to do next. So even to bring 3 guests to the next VPM meeting, he or she, they don't understand how to even approach them.
Well, that's the leader's fault. Does that make sense? Because like for example, because you always have to I want you to imagine, let's say any of you guys ever put a puzzle together before? Let's say I have all the pieces of the puzzle on the table. And I say, Lori, I want you to put this puzzle together. Well, you have no idea what the picture looks like, right? So I must go, this is the picture. Once you see the picture, you can put the puzzles together, right? So a lot of times what happens as a leader, we tell someone, oh, just bring 3 guests to the meeting. Well, they have no idea what they're doing.
Right.
You haven't painted the picture for them. You follow me? You as a leader, you're the influencer. You must paint the picture on why, right? So that's why we have the baseball example, the restaurant example, all those things. And then I'll take you guys through on a different day. I'll take you guys through on how to do that. Okay. What else about the one-on-one specifically?
I have one, it's about the one-on-one, but it's in regards to a different type of person. So you have a one-on-one with a real estate agent that has that attitude of I know everything that I'm doing and I know everything. So you have that attitude and you're doing a one-on-one with that type of person. How would you approach it?
Well, the thing is that, okay, from a fundamental standpoint, right? So that's resistance, right? There's good resistance and there's bad resistance, right? Who are we looking for? We're looking for people that are looking for us. Right? So Lori works at Roberta Cavalli, right? So if I walk into Roberta Cavalli and I go, $2,000 for a dress? Are you freaking kidding me? I would never wear $2,000. I would never pay $2,000. Well, she goes, well, leave. Does that make sense?
fast.
Because the people that come to Roberto Cavalli, they pay $20,000 for a dress. Does that make sense? Because they see the value in it. So she doesn't have to spend 2 hours talking about, well, let me tell you why it's $2,000. You don't see the value in that. Does that make sense? So who are we looking for? We're looking for people that are looking for us. Does that make sense? So once you get into a position where you're looking for people looking for us, our conversation is that I'm not trying to convince you. Because if I got to convince you, then I got to convince you to come to meetings. How many of us ever feel, I feel like I want this for my team more than they want it for themselves?
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense? That's what makes it, now you feel like you're dragging someone along. That's why I ask all the questions right up front. You follow me? So that's setting that up is, if I'm sitting out with someone that's, by the way, just so you know, you're not in a cult. So everybody you know does not have to be in business with you. You follow me? So there's a lot of people that I know that are not in business with me, but they refer me people. You follow me on that? If you become that person, you're looking for people that are looking for you. Your business actually becomes unattractive the more you chase and the more you beg people.
You guys have guests already?
Yeah, there's only 2 of them in there, so it's not a big deal. What other questions?
I like the way you took them from when he says I'm not interested in joining to like a few minutes later he was very interested and you would have gotten him to join.
Yeah,
You just went around
away
that.
from
You took that question away from him by just saying, well, I'm not asking you to join, but I want you to answer this question.
Yeah, because sometimes people say things, but they don't it's just they're nervous. They don't really
They don't know
understand what
they
they're
don't know what
saying.
they're saying.
Feel
Right.
down.
Yeah, so like the first time I said I'm not interested to Ed, it was like, I didn't know what I was saying. I was just, I'm not interested. It's like people become robotic in certain things. But he made it so light. First of all, he started laughing. And he says, well, of course you're not interested. How can you be interested in something you know nothing about?
Right.
You know what I mean? He didn't make a big deal out of it. It was like, oh my God, he's not interested. Oh, he's turning me down. He's rejecting me. He didn't go through that whole process. So half the time when people say things to me, I make them think about what they're saying. I'll repeat it back to them. And half that time, it doesn't even make sense to them.
Yeah, that was a great question. That's what I was going to say.
Yes.
I like the way you the whole idea of the flip chart is the way it builds people up. Like the one thing that I think Dion said, and I think I definitely noticed that, was just the body language. The rapport he was building with it. Like every single page, it was building and building.
Yeah, because I don't want to tear down what he's doing. Does that make sense? Because once you do that from an energy standpoint, right? When he walks away, when we're done, I want him to be inspired. Does that make sense? Not when he's done and go, oh my God, I suck. This is it. I want him to be encouraged and inspired. Then he wants to be around me again. You follow me? Then I take him through that system.
And what I liked about the numbers, Dan, like when he said that he earned $16 an hour, 200 hours a month, he did not net $4,000.
No,
But
you
Dan
didn't call him
chose,
on that.
Dan didn't call him out on that.
Right.
That's the cool thing. It's all that stuff.
You don't have to
Like
slam.
that.
You don't have to slam
Don't.
people. They already know.
Just,
You know what I mean? They already know. You don't have to be. Remember, facts. Just because you're factual, right? It doesn't move people. What moves people is when you're able to connect with their hearts. Does that make sense? Because once I do the numbers, he already knows what the real math is. He already knows what he brings home, right? But then, common sense. I'm in a room with like 30, 40 people. He's in the hot seat. Do I want to embarrass him here? You know what I mean? Go, no, and blah, blah, blah. So I might be right, but it makes him feel bad. You follow me on that? So pay attention to how you make people feel. Do people feel great around you, right? Or do they feel inspired when they're around you?
I like how you asked him the closing question before you went through the compensation plan. And then he didn't quite you didn't quite get the full close from him.
Right.
And then you told him a story, and then you asked him the closing question again
There you go.
before you went into the compensation plan. So, and then the $500 you sold him on that when you told him how would you like it to make $500 an hour, and then you showed him exactly how he could do it with the numbers. That was a no-brainer. So.
Right.
Now, would
taking
you
it.
have gone on to the second page if he didn't give you an answer about doing business with the company?
What second page?
When you were on the first page doing the platform?
No, I would have stayed on it till I got an answer from him.
Okay.
Yeah. And then usually when people, even when someone tells you, well, I don't think I can do it, right? The number one objection that people have is they don't think that they can do it. You follow me? So that's what you have to overcome. So that's why I was just saying that you're not going to be doing this yourself, right? You're not going to be doing this yourself. I'm going to be helping you, right? You're in business for yourself, but you're not by yourself. We have a team environment. All of that is, you're not going to be by yourself. Someone's going to be holding your hand. You follow me? And then that way, when people feel that, they feel like they're part of a team, they belong to something, all of that, they feel like they're not alone. That's all part of the recruiting process.
At the 3 options page, if he picked client, would you do the other flip chart or another appointment, or?
It's just common sense. If you pick client, if the time is right, we'll go right to the F&A. Or if not, we schedule another appointment. Just common sense. Use common sense, you guys.
Can I give you a scenario, Dan? If you go back to the flip chart, the 3 choices.
Okay.
If he said I want to be an associate, what are the qualifications to work with you as an associate?
To
I
work
don't-
with me
Yeah,
personally?
I don't have time, but I'm going to refer. I have a lot of people, a great network, but I don't have time. What are my qualifications? What do I need to do to qualify to work with you and make passive income at $5,000 a month?
I don't understand. Are
Well,
you
I know they have to be licensed, right? In order. So what if they don't have the time? How do you approach that? Where you still want to work with them in their network and get the referral business, but I'm up against people saying I don't have time to get regulated and licensed, but I'll give you referral business.
Why don't they have time?
Oh, I've got so much stuff to do, and I just
What is
afraid
it?
to fail the test. I'm not good at studies. Multiple questions trip me up. I'm just wondering, like, some tools in terms of how
When
you
someone
overcome
tells
that.
me I don't have time, I'm really sorry to hear that. Do you realize that?
That is so sad.
Yeah.
I'm
I
getting
don't.
that.
I don't have.
That's what I got yesterday.
I don't have time.
Like 6 people that tell me that.
Yeah, I don't have time. I'm really sorry to hear that.
Malik said,
But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Listen, I'm really sorry to hear that. How does that make you feel? Think about that. How does that make you feel? Not having time. Right? What is it that we all want? You follow me? So sincerity. Right? Because at the end of the day, right, it's the one thing. You can have tons of money. I have friends that make tons of money. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. Right? So I want to pause on that. You follow me? So how does that make you feel? Well, what do you mean? You just told me you don't have time. What is it that we all want? Listen, the other day someone says to me, what do you do? I said, wow. I said, whatever I want. And he goes, well, what do you mean by that? I says, well, whatever I want. I said, well, what does that mean? I says, well, you ever got up in the morning and you do whatever you want? Like, I have nowhere that I have to be. I don't work for anyone. I can have authentic conversations with people with no agendas, right? I travel. I want to take my kids to school. I take them to school. I don't want to take them to school. I have someone take them to school, right? Whatever you want. What would it feel like if you could do whatever you wanted? In order to do that, you must have a system. Follow me? Because if you don't have a system, you'll always not have time. So I love that objection. You follow me? Because most people just, I'm doing it. Because that was me. That was me in '98. I was running around, I was doing all this stuff, and I would tell Ed, I was like, man, I just don't have time. And then he said, Charlie, it's not that you don't have time. You don't know how to prioritize your time. So, well, what the hell does that mean? He says, all that stuff you're running around and doing, right? What is your earning power? So when he said that, I said, well, what the hell's earning power? I had no idea what earning power was. And he says, let's take a look at everything you're doing. Let's take a look at your income. And let's take a look at what is your time worth an hour. And when I did that, it was like $6 an hour, $7 an hour something. And he goes, of course you don't have time. Because the value of your time is only worth $7 an hour. You want to have more time, let's increase the value of your time. That's why people make you pay for their time. You want to meet with me for an hour? It's going to cost you 5 G's. Oh, I'm not paying 5 G's. You're not the right person to sit down in front of me. You follow me? That's why people, so guess what? When I'm sitting down with someone, whether it's a one-on-one, a kitchen table, I'm giving them an hour of my time. Do you think I want to waste an hour of my time? Absolutely not. Which is why I ask all the questions. Because I'm looking for people looking for me. I'm not chasing anyone. I have the platform, the opportunity, I can change your life, provided, right, you have the burning desire. Because you got to bring something to the table. See, most of us, when we're recruiting someone, we're just so busy trying to get a membership when we recruit them, but we're not enrolling them into a vision. You follow me? I want to enroll you. So it's not just like, hey, you're going to refer me in and you're going to make some side money. You're selling the business way too small. Way too small.
So when do you interject in that or let them know the transparency of needing to get licensed as a life and health agent? At what point? I'm just trying to understand where that falls in the semantics of the presentation.
Right.
You let them know
Right here.
they're going to have to get their license and
Of
move
course.
forward. So what if you're up against, oh my God, I don't like to study, I'm afraid, I don't like it. They get turned off because of the
only
pressure.
The only time, first of all, pressure is good.
Of course.
Right? Pressure is good. The only time you get all of these things, is that, see, when you're not going through the presentation, right, there's a lot of objections you're going to get. You follow me? Oh, I don't have time. I don't want to get licensed. Blah, blah. There's not a big enough dream. There's not a big enough vision, right? If there's a big enough vision, like he goes, man, what would it feel like to turn your annual income into a monthly work 4-hour work week? It's like, oh shit, what would it be like? Where would he live? What kind of car does he drive? Da 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 da. Right? So the dream must be bigger than the fear. You follow me? So if there's no dream. There's no dream. So when Marlette was talking to me in the beginning, because it's not going to be easy. If it was easy, everybody do it. We're talking about you becoming part of the top 2%. Does that make sense? Right? So if you're planning to be part of the top 2%, like I met with a lady yesterday, right? She was the president of the Oscars, right? Cheryl Boone, right? And she was telling me 93% of the people that she worked with at the Oscar world, right, were white. 77% was male. She was the only African American, like that rose, and she became the president. Do you think that's easy? And woman.
Yes.
Do you think that's easy?
Sorry, I had to add that.
Yeah, you had to add that, right?
Nice.
You think that's easy? No, it's not.
No.
So if you're planning to achieve anything of significance, I'm talking about significance. I'm not talking about being average. Of course you're going to have some challenges there. You follow me? So I want to know that dream, whatever it is for them, right, is bigger than the little, oh, what about if I can't pass my... Anybody can pass a test. Give me a break. I don't want to scale it down where I'm talking to you about little stuff. Because if I put a gun to your head and I say, look, you don't pass this damn test, I'm blowing your head off. Guess what? You want to live. Provided you want to live, you'll pass the test. Right? So where there's a big enough desire, people find a way.
I totally resonate with that because Sarah has come to a couple of the meetings and she met with Aisha.
Mm-hmm.
I could not get her past the fear passing her test, and when Aisha connected with her big why to help
Boom.
with her people, because she's a life coach, in the book she just published, she can help with her clients, you know, help them with their financial needs. Her why was so big, she scheduled her date.
There you go.
And I'm like, what? How did this just happen? Where she gets it now.
There's a lot of life coaches without a life, just so you know.
It's such God.
What are you gonna say?
I love that. So that's what happened. The dream came first.
What I was going to say is, just like you said, you want to recruit people into like a vision, you want to enroll them. But in the situation where...
But I'm closing the whole time. Does that make sense? Even though I'm looking for people looking for me, but I'm closing them the whole time. Because they're telling themselves a bullshit story. I'm not buying the story. Because I know they have a dream inside. I know they want to be somebody. I know what it is they don't believe that they can do it. So I'm still closing them on their dream.
So the people that maybe it's not so much that they don't feel like they can take the test, but that they literally like don't have the time or couldn't commit to the meetings, couldn't commit to being enrolled in the vision. What's the best time you feel, or the best way to actually offer like a referral partner program? When is the timing to actually do that, and how do you approach that?
I would tell you that's if I'm meeting with someone that like that's like the lowest. By the way, you know, if you want, you can get licensed part-time, blah, blah, blah. If I'm sitting out with someone that just doesn't have a burning desire, you know what I mean, but they're a good person, they're okay, but they just don't have a burning desire, then I would do that. You know what I mean? But for most people, what's that?
People that have like really good networks that could
actually... you could do that. I mean, you could do that. I mean, it's but for me, I'm thinking big picture, right? I'm thinking about I'm building a company. I want outlets, I want outlet openers, all this stuff. But yeah, you have people that join and, you know, at the lowest levels and stuff like that.
For the TRC, you didn't go through the whole format of it, but you picked and choose maybe 2 or 3 questions and kind of incorporate a couple, 2 or 3 more throughout your presentation.
What is TRC?
Trust, respect, estimates.
Okay.
Is that just because of the person you're speaking to? Like, do you tailor it to that?
Yeah, well, once you know the TRC, once you've done it enough, I mean, if I was doing the actual kitchen table, I would take them through that. But I use questions from the TRC. I take things from scripts and all this stuff because you have the WFG lingo in your head.
Yeah. Just because it seemed like if you would have asked the 10 questions in the beginning, it may have thrown him a little bit off.
Mm-hmm.
The way you ran it was a lot smoother.
Yeah, I just wanted to do the flip chart. What else? Anything else?
What are some of the things you and Ed did immediately after you did your one-on-one with Ed?
I mean, my one-on-one with Ed, that's the thing about common sense, right? About common sense. The conditions were different. Like, we never, like, when we, by the way, some of you are going to say, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed to see. This was missing. Actually, it's not, right? I just do it just for you guys, but it's actually not what's missing, right? What's missing is, 1, you got to make a decision. 2, you got to get focused. 3, you got to get going, right? Because I can do everything I just did. I can recruit him in 10 minutes without having to do this at all. Why do I do this? Because it's duplicatable. Does that make sense? But the reality of my conversation with Ed, it was all energy, right? Because when he came in, I felt like this guy was going somewhere. I was like, dude, this dude's going somewhere. I don't understand 90% of what he's talking about, but I ain't getting left behind. He's 29, he's making 50 grand a month. I said, hey, are you going to work with me? He says, yeah. He said, I don't work with everybody, right? Here's the deal. Tuesday night, I'm gonna have a meeting. I want you to come down. I want you to bring 3 guests. You're my brand new guy. Here's what you need to say to them, right? And he basically put a lot of pressure on me. He goes, look, I look for people that have credibility. You're 33 years old. You can't get 3 people to the next meeting. Here's what that means to tell me about you. You don't have credibility in your market. That means people don't trust you, right? So here's how you invite them. I just got started with a company. I'm really excited about it. My mentor challenged me to bring 3 guests, right? They're going to ask you, tell me what it is. You don't know what it is. Does that make sense? Because you're brand new. You're not equipped to answer that question. You would be doing the business malpractice by trying to explain it what it is. right? They're coming on the strength of your trust, not on the strength of the opportunity. So when they ask you, what is it? You tell them, I just got started. I'm brand new. I'm not the person to have this conversation. You'll meet my mentor. You'll meet my mentor. You can ask him all those specific questions. I'm just like you. I'm brand new. I just got started, right? So guess what? The pressure that he put on me, when I left, I felt like, oh my God, this guy's not going to work with me if I don't get 3 guests the next meeting. That means I don't have any credibility. So when I call my buddy Scott Him, he's my freaking buddy. When I'm going to hang out, when I'm going to the club, when I'm going to this, I call his buddy. He ain't asking me 20 different questions. Now all of a sudden, I'm going to sit there and answer 20. I say, hey Scott, Charlier, what are you doing Tuesday night? What do you think he's thinking? Oh, we're going to hang out. Charlier got something going on, right? He says, nothing. What's up? I said, hey, I just got started with a company I'm excited about. My mentor challenged me to bring 3 guests. Guess who's coming? He says, who? I said, you. You follow me? Then he said, Danny, what is it? I said, dude, didn't I just tell you I just got started? I'm down here at this thing. You're coming, right? I need your help. Yeah. Okay, boom. Then my next hangout buddy was Ron Pickett. Ronnie, Charlier, how you doing? Man, I'm doing awesome. What are you doing Tuesday night? Nothing. What's going on? Just got off the phone with Scotty. Guess what? Just got started with a company. I'm excited about it. My mentor challenged me to bring 3 guests. Scotty's coming. Guess who else is coming? Who? You. Hey, tell me about it. Dude, didn't I just tell you I just got started? Right? Recruiting is about creating curiosity. Does that make sense? Yeah. Recruiting is about creating curiosity. Now, our own ego, we want to explain to everyone, right? But my buddies, they know me as a Marine, right? Your friends know you as the person you are. They're not going to take financial advice from you. They're not going to do all of this. That's the psychology of the system. Then I call my buddy John Meyer, because that's my other buddy. If my car broke down at 3 o'clock in the morning, those are my 3 buddies that were, they're still my 3 buddies, right? John, what are you doing Tuesday night? Nothing, what's up? Just got off the phone with Scott. Just got off the phone with Ron. We're all rolling. I just got started with a company. I'm really excited about it. My mentor challenged me to bring 3 guests. And guess who the 3rd one is? Guess that's me. Great. Then I called all of their butts. I go, look, I don't want to leave this to chance. Because my mentor told me that Tuesday night, I better have 3 guests or he's not going to work with me. So, because I know things happen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to meet at 5 and Jeffrey in the parking lot, right? We're going to drive together. We're going to use my gas. We're going to drive together, right? And here's what I want to tell you guys, because you guys are my friends. If you guys come up with any excuses and I show up to that meeting on Tuesday and one of you are not here and this guy is going to be working with me and I lose credibility because of my friends told me that they would support me, I will never talk to you again. And then here's what they said. They said, damn, Charlier, you're serious about this. I said, I'm dead serious about this. Of course they did. Because they were my friends. Does that make sense?
Of course. Yes.
Just like you do things for your friends, your true friends, to support them. I wasn't asking them to buy anything. I wasn't asking them to join me. They're my friends. This is what I'm going to be doing. Right? So when we got in the car, right, we're in the car, we're rolling and go, look, hey, you guys, I want to be very clear on something. When we get there, this guy, Ed Marlette, right, because Ed was 29 at the time, this guy's making $50,000 a month. Look, all of us in here, none of us make this type of money. So don't you freaking walk in there and act like you're a freaking big shot. Because I know, you know, we all know you ain't a freaking big shot. He's the big shot, right? And I framed them in the car. I said, this guy is going to be investing his time into me. You guys need to make me look good. You follow me? So when they walked in there, they got a chance to meet Ed. It was a big freaking deal because I framed it that way. Because they looked up to me and they saw the way I edified Ed. right? And I said, look, if you get an opportunity to even interview with this guy, right, that's a big deal because he doesn't usually do that. So it made the recruiting process so easy. All I had to do was get people in front of Ed, and I know how to edify. It just make it very easy, right? Instead of just going, oh, here's Ed. Instead of going, hey, can you help me? Can you just come to the meeting? Well, what is it? Well, it's Trans-America Financial Advisors, and we do insure. Totally different mindset. You follow? Even when I knew the answers, I didn't want to answer anything. Because the more you get, the more information you give someone, what they're doing is they're bottom lining.
Yeah.
You follow me? Like I had a guy over the phone the other day. He said, well, can you just tell me this? I said, can I ask you a question? He says, yeah. I said, have you ever got a haircut over the phone? And he goes, no. I says, I can't do this over the phone. We got to see face to face. He's like, okay, boom, we got it. Because I wanted to book an appointment. I didn't want to have a 20-minute conversation over the phone. You follow me on that? So that process, this is why you come to the meetings. This is why you're learning. This is why you field train. All this stuff, you learn. There's a psychology of the system. Cool? Any other questions?
Since you're on a roll, Dan, can I ask for you to role play?
Yes,
Yes, I'm thinking emergency here, momentum. So I understand how you're getting people to BPM, but in order to meet someone and try to get a one-on-one appointment, how would you approach someone? You're impressed with them at a restaurant. You want to go up to them. Like, if you give me some information in terms of how you choose.
Okay, so let's say I meet someone.
Yes.
Right. It depends on the person, because some people I meet, I just disturb them. Like they remember me. They either go, man, that dude's an asshole. Like the first time I met Lori, I just disturbed her. Yeah. And then automatically, because I disturbed her, and my wife was all mad at me. You're so mean, all this stuff.
Can you tell us how you did that?
Huh?
How did you do that?
She thought you were an asshole. So
I was.
Things have
I
changed.
actually was. But
Get out of my face.
yeah. But she remembered me. But my heart was in the right place. I just told her. Right, because she was #1 in Cavalli, and she sold hundreds of millions. And then I said, "How does it feel to build someone else's company?"
Woo!
Right? Wow. And then, but then, we came around full circle, right? So if I meet someone, right, I usually want to find something authentic about them. Does that make sense? So I want to give you an authentic compliment, not something that has, I'm just saying this because I have an ulterior motive. Yeah. That doesn't work in like really good markets. Really good markets, people see you coming like 5-10 miles down the road. Right? So authenticity is always key. You follow me?
Yes.
Then I might say, you know what, my company's growing and expanding. We're always looking for sharp people. I would love to visit with you for 5 to 10 minutes to show you who we are, what we do, the opportunity available. And even if there's not a match for you, I want you to see what we're doing because we're looking for people. You might know someone that's looking for an opportunity. You follow me?
Yes.
Something real simple. And they go, well, tell me a little bit more about it. You know what? We're at an event here. This is not the right time for it. I don't have time. You probably don't have time. Let's get together for a cup of coffee. It'll take 5, 10 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you.
But this may not be the time. You said it's not duplicatable, but can you
This may not be the time. You're
Well,
pre-framing. It's not the time. No, I'm kidding.
But I just want to know, because you said that you can recruit somebody in 10 minutes. So, like, take us through, like, your bullet points in that 10-minute conversation.
Whether I can recruit someone in 10 minutes, like with him, it would be like Ed recruited me in 10 minutes, right? Because it was an energy, right? And he asked me a question. He says, if I could show you how to make an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month part-time, right? Is there any logical reason why you can get Saudi? I said, no. And then he showed me how to do it.
Okay, so let's say you don't make $50,000 a month.
What's
so
that?
Let's say you don't make $50,000 a month. So all of us here, we're in that building phase. We're trying to.
But you can use the same thing with the compensation. Also, too, you guys. Also, too. Here's why it's important for you to use the flip chart, right? I'm at a different stage of my career, right? So I bring a whole different energy. You can't duplicate the energy.
You do have the house on the hills.
Yeah, right? So there's a whole, and then you don't have to have that to recruit because different people see the world differently, right? But my point is, my energy is totally different. The reason I've done thousands of these, you guys, I've been doing this for 17 years. I can do it with my eyes closed, right? So you can't go, okay, that's what I need to be, and that's what, because you have to work your way through that. You follow me? So it's an energy. I can get to the point really quick. I don't have to waste time, all of this stuff. But there's a repetition. There's tons of them. I remember I was an SMD. I think I was like at 100, probably $170,000 a year in cash flow, right? And I was going through this recruiting funk. Like literally I could not. Something about the recruiting process and what was going through my mind when I was sitting down with someone, it was just like shooting blanks, just like could not recruit, right? Like stuck. So I'm making a bunch of calls and I get some appointments with 2 RVPs in Primerica. RVPs means they're brokers, they're SMDs in Primerica, senior marketing directors in Primerica. So now I have this recruit appointment with 2 RVPs in Primerica, right? And I got a recruiting block. I'm in a recruiting fund, right? So I called Ed. I said, hey, man, I need you to run these appointments with me. He's like, what the hell are you talking about, Charlie? Why do I need to run an appointment with you? I was like, dude, just run the appointment with you. He's like, okay. So someone's always closing someone, right? So we go on the appointment together. We're in the office in Pomona, and the appointment is in Brea, right? And it's at a restaurant. It's a barbecue restaurant. What's the barbecue? They have chains all over it. Lucille's Barbecue. See how clear I remember that. It's a Lucille Barbecue. We get there, and back then we didn't have a flip chart. Back then we just used brochures. Right? So that's why we came up with a flip chart. So everybody knows, boom, we just use it. So Ed comes out, boom, 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 does his thing, right? And there's nothing he said I didn't know. Like everything he said, I was like, oh, I know that. Oh, I know that. I know that. I know that. I know that. Right? And after he finished, he recruits him. And then so we get back in the car. He said, hey, what did you take? I was like, well, I knew everything you said. He said, the problem is you don't believe it. You know it. I believe it. There's a lot of things you know, but I believe it. You follow me? You know there's a higher power, right? Do you absolutely believe it? In times of doubt, when you're in the trenches, when you're in the valley, actually believe it. You follow me? And then what I realized was I had recruited a bunch of people that quit, and I allowed that to affect my belief about the opportunity. So, different context. I own a gym. My job is to get gym memberships. So after 3 months, I go, wait a minute. 3,000 people bought memberships. But from those 3,000 people, only 200 people come to the gym. What happened to the other 2,800? I should stop getting memberships till I figure out why they're not coming to. That's what I did in my business. Now, if I owned a gym, that'd be idiotic for me to do that. But some reason I did that in my business. You follow me? And then I had to go, okay, once I realized that, I said, boom, that's something that does not serve me. If I'm going to build a business, it doesn't serve me to have that belief. You follow me on that? So little things. What else? Anything else?
And I think think that whatever you do and teach is that no matter how much time you have, just like being in the mozone, you connect with the person. You find out what their need is.
Yeah.
That's just the thing. So that's I would say the biggest thing that I've learned from Dan is how to connect with people. So
You have to connect and
just
collect.
find their need. We're here to solve their need. We have everything.
Cool. It's not rocket science, you guys. It's really easy. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Make sense? Okay. Are we done? Why do I see all these things looking at me? Is that what is that other offices that are logged in? Or,
This was Trish.
what's that?
This was Trish in New York.
New York. Oh, New York, Trish. And who's that right there?
No, this is just recording.
This is recording. So you do a YouTube and stuff. Put it out there on YouTube. Cool. Anything else?
Something that kind of struck me with what you were doing.
I was literally thinking about you a week ago, man.
Oh,
I was
really?
thinking about how you were doing. 'Cause I know you had some health challenges.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, man. I asked Bobby for you too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
He's one of the head people in charge in Equinox.
Wow.
So yeah.
Nice
yeah,
gym.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But it's.
You know what's crazy about that gym? So when I first moved to LA, I was shopping around for gyms, right? I was going over it all the. When I got to Equinox, you know what made me get my membership there? They had lotion in the bathroom. Out of everything, they showed me everything. I was like, "Is this lotion?" He says, "Yeah, we have lotion." Oh man, I'm in.
Cole's lotion.
Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
But no, the thing that struck me about your presentation was that, which is kind of the same of what we do at Equinox.
Of course.
Is most of the time people have had dreams and have abandoned them.
There you go.
And when you're sitting across from them and you're giving them permission to dream again, they want to come back and see you.
There you go.
And so it was exciting to see, because even I experienced it whenever I sat down and spoke to you.
Right.
That
That's probably the greatest takeaway right there.
So like, allowing yourself to have a bigger vision of yourself, or a bigger vision of your life, where other people or other circumstances have told you to keep it small,
Right.
is really exciting, and I think that's what makes people really believe in.
Yeah. And I really believe that this platform
Right.
you can achieve your God-sized dream in this platform. You know
And
what
the
I
thing
mean?
about it is
that I can make a case for it.
And if I wasn't careful,
You are a case for it.
And if I wasn't careful, I would think that you were specifically caring about me.
Right.
But in actuality, you believed in everything that you were saying.
Right.
And that was the thing that switched over. You believed in what you were saying, and I have permission to dream.
There you go. That's a huge takeaway. Okay, anything else? Lori, lunch?
Lunch.
I go to work?
No, I'm going to, I just created my schedule a little bit.
Oh, nice.
She has time.
She has time.
I
How does that feel, Lori?
I always have
I
time.
know you do. I know.
But I do
Okay.
have a question since you made me talk.
Nice going, Dan.
Nice going, yeah. Thank you. I don't have a problem recruiting people. You know that. I have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they're in.
And by the way, why is that? Because in every conversation, the person that is the most certain wins.
Yes.
So what she brings when she talks is certainty.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So that's the most important thing. Now, what we have to do is we have to get them enrolled and into a system. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Everybody's challenge is.
So my challenge is after they get enrolled, they're ready to go, they're exciting. It's just what I do after that.
Yeah.
So the follow-up is like, okay, did you get it? Did you get it? Are you what? Are you excited? Did you talk to so-and-so? And then just to take B especially, because she's brand new and she's here. She got excited. She got recruited in 10 minutes. And then she wants to be of it. She's got a huge network.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went out there because she was so excited, and she's trying to duplicate that excitement to other people. Of course, she failed.
Right.
But and then she's texting
But
Lauren,
here's the
"It's
thing,
not
though.
easy." I'm like,
Here's the
I
thing,
know.
B. Here's the thing, B. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the thing. So you have to be careful with that, because what ends up happening is that they experience a scenario of disaster,
Right.
because her
Yes.
excitement, right? She's excited, and people are like, well, wait a minute, what the hell are you all excited about, right? Because we're accustomed to seeing you the way you are.
Yeah.
So now they want to find out, what the hell, did you win the lottery? What's going on, right? And then she's like, oh, I just got started with this company. Oh my God.
What did you tell people?
All this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then so now she's telling me all this stuff. Then I say, you know, what is it? Then she said, well, it's this. See what she's doing?
That's what she did. That's
Right?
exactly what you did,
Right?
Exactly right.
And then I ask another question, right? And majority of the time, she's just trying to navigate in her head, right?
Yeah.
And then people go, well, somebody might say, oh, yeah, I heard of that before. Oh, yeah, I was there. Oh, yeah, I was there, right? And then she experiences what? Rejection,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So that is called the scenario of disaster. You follow me? So you see, so most people that experience the scenario of disaster, like you've ever talked to someone, they're excited, and then you never hear from them again. What happened is they got the scenario of disaster. They got rejection. It's the number one people thing fears, what do you think about me, right? So when you reject me, that doesn't feel good. I go, ooh, I didn't like the way that felt. Well, I'm not saying anything again. You follow me? Yeah. But if I tell her that, I know you're excited, right? Right? People are going to ask you, what are you excited about? Right? And then you tell them. You just say, hey, I just got started with a company. I'm really excited. I'm not the person I have this conversation. Right? You learn how to throw your hands up. You follow me? I'm just a maitre d'. This is what I do. Right? Now, you ask me anything in that arena, we can get down. Does that make sense? But this other thing, right? So they learn that scenario of disaster. So that keeps the curiosity there.
How does she
So-
carry the conversation over that?
All she has to do is get that person in front of Lori, or get that person in front of Bo, or get that person in front of Dan, or get that person in front of Aisha. That's all your job is.
Okay.
Here's Aisha. Mine was, here's Ed. Here's Ed. Here's Ed. That's all I did. And it became so easy.
Right.
I was just like, hey,
You got it.
here's
Got it.
Marlette.
Feel it? Okay.
You follow me?
I
And then
feel
they
it.
would get in front of Marlette. Marlette would edify me and then go through his thing. And Marlette would go, dude, you got another recruit. Damn, you're making this look easy. I don't know. I go, man. And then I just got good at getting in front of Marlette. And as soon as somebody asked me something, dude, why you asking me all these questions? I'm not the one to answer all these questions. I don't want to answer it. And even if I knew the answer, you guys, they know me as a Marine. They know me as a firefighter. We've been broke together. I borrowed money from them. They borrowed money from me. You know, we got all this history together, right? Because these are my buddies. These are my buddies that we hung out with, right? They're not going to take financial advice or business advice from me all of a sudden. You follow me?
Yeah.
And matter of fact, all of them, Scott Hamp, still my friend. Ron Pickett, still my friend. John Meyer, still my friend. Fast forward 17 years later, guess what all three of them doing? The same exact thing we were doing 17 years ago.
So they never.
I mean, they got started, but whatever story on why they quit, but Scott Hamp brought me Stephen Louise Hay. If he would have just stayed in the business and got licensed, he would have been overriding Paul Ireton, all those guys. You'd have made him making a couple of $1 million a year.
That's a sore subject.
For him, not sore for me.
Hold on up to it.
Right? It all came direct to me.
You lost all that money.
Right? You guys follow me on that? Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys learned some stuff?
Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Okay, have a great day.
Peter, can I see your book? Peter, can I see your book?
Yeah. He taught